Good morning. Appreciate that, Tim. Uh, we've had a Thursday on a Tuesday, and now a Wednesday on a Tuesday. So we're getting closer to having Tuesday be Tuesday, and so looking forward to that as we get through the season and where we can actually come in here and have an actual Tuesday. Crazy schedule this year with a couple of short weeks. Playing on a Thursday and playing on a Friday, but we're excited about going to Boston, and it's another big challenge for us. They always play tough, and every time we go up there, it is always a battle. In fact, we've had 2 or 3 times up there. We've been fortunate to come away with a win, especially a couple of years ago. So. We know what we've got in store for us and have great respect for Boston College. They're a 3-2 football team, but they're I think it was 4th and 20 or 20-something away from being 4-1. I think Georgia Tech on the game-winning drive, I think it was 4th and 20. They converted a pass. And that allowed them to go on and have the game-winning drive there over in Ireland in the first game. So they're a good football team that has improved over the first few games here. Offensively, present a lot of challenges with their how they use their personnel. It's going to be a game of adjustments with. They've multiple tight ends and fullbacks. I mean, they're a big physical, force the issue, run the football, play action type of a team. And so big challenge for us this week is, first of all, matching their physicality and the mentality that you've got to have to play against an offense like this. And then secondly, because of all the personnel groupings and the formations and the shifts and the motions that they use, you have to make a lot of adjustments and really be disciplined. We didn't do a very good job of that up there a couple of years ago. You may remember we had a couple of guys turned loose running wide open, where we were just lucky that they dropped the ball. So we got to do a better job of playing with great discipline on the back end, especially with their play action game. And again, big and physical. This quarterback is very impressive. He's a grad transfer from Kentucky, threw for over 5,000 yards at Kentucky. They play 2 or 3 running backs, and they're all just strong, physical. You better if you try to arm tackle them, it's not happening. You better center them up, and you better have help on the way because they're just big, strong guys that run the football with authority. Big tight ends. They got 4 starters back in the offensive line, so very experienced up front with what they do with their power schemes and their lead zones and their counters. They'll run the quarterback counters and do a good job. The quarterback is a very accurate passer. He's a 6'5", 250-plus pound guy, prototypical guy. He's an NFL player. There's no question about it. And he's athletic enough to get him out of trouble. And again, they run him. They'll spread you out and all of a sudden come back and run the quarterback counters with him. But very impressed with what they're doing. And then outside of the 2 leading receivers, number 6 and number 3, good players. Number 83 is a 230-pound wideout, big kid, 6'4", 6'5" guy. So we've got, great challenge up in Boston. And then you flip over and you look at their defense, and it's the same old Boston College. It just seems like I don't know where these guys come from, but it's the same old Boston College. They're number 1 in the nation in total defense again this year. They finished the year last year number 1 in total defense. Alabama was 3rd. Just to kind of put that in perspective for you, I mean, it's a really stout defense, big, strong, physical defensive linemen that gobble people up. They've got some fast twitch guys on the edge. Number 7, I think he's got 7 sacks coming off the edge. 2 of the best linebackers that we've seen on tape, 28 and 13. They're active. It's, Boston College always has great linebackers, and it just seems as long as I've been at Clemson and we've been playing these guys, you just turn on the film every year, and they've got outstanding play at linebacker. And then they've got 4 veterans back in the secondary. Do have a new defensive coordinator. But, this is a confident bunch over there on the defensive side. Again, another big challenge for us as we continue to try to, improve our team each and every week. Another tough defense, just like we saw last week. I think they're 7th in the nation in in rush defense. They're number 1 in the nation in pass defense. So good football team all the way around, and again, looking forward to going up to Boston. Also, I don't know who put this on here, but I didn't really know what the red bandana game was, Tom Rinaldi, who wrote this book, actually gave me a copy and told me about it the other day, but I didn't really know what it was all about. So I did a little research and watched some video, and man, it just unbelievable. One of the most inspirational stories I've ever seen or heard about. And the particular video I watched was just powerful. I guess ESPN did it. It was just powerful. And, as a father of 3 sons and knowing the love that you have for your children, and how fast it goes, how fast they grow up, and the memories that you have in your mind of your kids, watching his mom and dad on that video, just, oh man, it just brought me to my knees, and it really did. And it's a real honor to be able to play in a game like this, in a moment where it just, I guess, according to the schedule, worked out to where this is the game that they chose to be the red bandana game. And again, I think it's an inspiration. You talk about a real hero. And for me, it was kind of hit personal too, because I took my family to New York this summer. We got a chance to go to a Yankees game, and I wanted to take my boys over to where the trade centers were in the memorial. And we actually went to the top of I think it's called the Freedom Towers now. We went to the top, the 100th floor, and and you still could see down and see where the trade centers were. And I mean, it was a powerful, just time for me and my family. Because obviously my kids were younger, and it's something that I wanted them to know about. And you see the memorial and the stories. It's and then you hear about a young man like Wells Crowther. I mean, it's just powerful. And I think it's awesome that BC, he played at BC, he played lacrosse. I believe it was lacrosse was it lacrosse or field hockey? Lacrosse at BC. And I think that's one of the great attributes that sports instills in young people, is that team and that take action mindset. You just kind of wired that way, and it's just unbelievable what he did, and to hear the people speak about how he saved their lives, and they didn't even know who he was. He just reacted and took action, and I don't know how many lives that he saved, and he could have left, but he went back. I mean, it really is unbelievable, inspirational story. So we look forward to being a part of that moment as well, with all the Boston College folks. We got a lot of respect for BC. I think Steve Addazio is one of the great men of college football, first of all, especially if I've got a chance to get to know him, sit in meetings with him. I don't think there's a more passionate coach, a guy that loves the game more, a guy that loves his players more, and a guy that's about the right things than Coach Addazio. And then just the relationship we have with Boston College. I think there's a great respect from the Clemson side to the BC side, and a game we look forward to every year. And this year is just even more special to be a part of. in honoring this young man here that is a true American hero. And with that, I'll take your questions.
You won your first game as head coach up at Chestnut Hill on a Halloween weekend. Is playing up there particularly nostalgic for you, and what are some of your recollections about that game?
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's I've got a picture in my house of that first win, and it's pretty special. I'll never forget that group of guys. Sometimes I'll look at that picture, and I'm in the locker room, and all the guys are around me, and I just start looking at those faces. Mike Hamlin, Jock McKissick, Thomas Austin, the Tyler Grisham's, Jacoby Ford, C.J. Spillers, and Ricky Saps, and I'm just looking at them, and I'm like, wow, man, we've come a long way since that very first win. And but those were kind of the forefathers of where we are now as a program. They were the first guys to say, you know what, James Davis, and that got us going. I mean, it really did. And I remember when we went up there, I didn't know till prior to that we'd never won there. And I remember getting a big lead. I think we had a nice lead at halftime, and then it evaporated pretty quick, and they came back. I remember C.J. Spiller taking that kick back. Didn't quite get there. Aaron Kelly, we throw that fade route for him to I guess was the go-ahead score in the fourth quarter there. In fact, Aaron came to the game. Got a chance to see Aaron this weekend. He and his fiance. We were talking about that, but hit Aaron for the go-ahead touchdown, and then the defense has to go out there and stop him. And I remember DeAndre McDaniel. It was just everybody they just wanted to find a way to win. And DeAndre, I mean, we were just living and dying on every play. And right there at the end, I remember him looking over. He was like, it was like a timeout or something. He was like, "Coach, we got this," and they did. We get to stop and win the game. It was a special moment, definitely one I'll never forget. But every time we've been up there, we lost once up there, and that was a close game. That was Ellington got hurt. I'll never forget that on a freak play. And it was kind of the story of our season that year. Just it seemed like every game was a 3-point game. But every time we go up there, it's a battle. I mean, it's not going to be different Friday night.
When you lost Dodd and Lawson, and you started working Christian at defensive end in the spring, back then, could you imagine that he would have been as disruptive as he's been as a defensive end?
Not initially when we first, because I hadn't seen him do it. But pretty quickly in the spring practice, there was no doubt. I'm like, we'll be just fine right here. He can play in. That was pretty obvious this spring. We had no doubt about it at all, and really felt like because he was disruptive all spring against a pretty good offensive line. So no, we knew this spring, but going into it, I didn't know until I saw it.
When you win a game as big as Saturday's, how do you ensure that the team stays focused on the task at hand and moves on to the next game in a positive way?
I mean, it wasn't any bigger than beating Georgia Tech on Thursday night. It wasn't any bigger than beating Auburn in the opener at Auburn. It wasn't any bigger than beating South Carolina State. They're all big. I always tell that if you don't think it's big, lose it, and you'll realize how big that game was. They're all big. So we just continue to do what we've done around here for a long time. We come in here on Mondays, and it's Mental Monday. We refocus. It's all about what's next and how we get better. We correct mistakes. We challenge. We tell the truth, and say, okay, here's what we did good. Here's what we did bad. Here's what we got to do to get better this week. Here's the next opponent. We're going to get ready for what they do. But listen, it's about our formula for excellence, our standard, having a daily focus. We don't change that. And our guys, they buy into that. I mean, every week is a huge game. I mean, we want to win the division, and Boston College is in the way. They're in the way. It's just that simple. I mean, we don't make the schedules up. We don't worry about the schedule. We just play it. And we also know they all count. So right now we're in a good spot in our division. After 5 games, we've positioned ourselves where we'd like to be at 5-0. But if we want to stay in control of our destiny, and if we want to achieve that next goal, we got to find a way to beat Boston College. Just that simple. And that's where all of our focus is. Last week, ain't going to win this week. Had we lost the game, it'd be the same thing. It's all about this game. We can't live in the past, whether it's good or bad. Fans do that, but for us, it's, mate, we refocus, move on. We get 12 games, and at the end of the year, we just want to do the best we can with those 12 games. We'd love to be 12-0. If we lose one, and then we go, all right, we want to be 11-1. We just want to be the best we can be, and that's the mentality that we have. Put everything you got into it, live with the result. Move on. Let everybody else worry about all the other stuff. Here's what we do. And, right now, again, we still have a chance to win 12. But as y'all hear me say all the time, you can't win 12 till you win 6. And that's our focus.
What can you tell us about Austin Bryant and Adrian Baker in the last couple of practices? Are you still evaluating whether they'll be able to play on Friday?
Austin will go with us. He'll make the trip. He looks pretty good. Pretty pleased where he's at. We'll have him with us. Adrian will not make the trip, but I'm really pleased with him. He's actually practicing all week on the scout team. He's taking every rep, because, again, we got to be ready to play, so it's hard to just give guys reps. But we got to get him in that real football mode. So he's doing all the competitive work, that we can get him. But then he's taking every rep on the scout team, on the scout D, so he can just get his confidence, breaking on the balls, the plants and cuts that you make at that position, just the reaction type of stuff, and really get his confidence. So that's what we're going to do with him all week, and then we'll probably travel him with us next week.
You've often talked about the team shouldn't care when you play, what time of day, what day. What is your opinion on these Friday night games? Because this is certainly out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I don't like it. I want to be watching my son on Fridays. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it takes away from the high schools on Friday night. I've never liked it. But, I don't control it. And Clemson doesn't. Dan Radakovich doesn't control it. Those are all TV contract stuff, and I understand all that. But so we don't have any control over it, so I don't really fret about it or worry about it. We just do what we do. But I don't like it. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
Coach, you talked about, as you just did, about the every game's the biggest game, the weekly focus. But a lot of great teams, great coaches preach that. Why has it resonated so much here? You guys have had so much success beating, unranked opponents. Because
we walk the walk. We don't just talk it. We walk the walk as coaches. There's no, if y'all were embedded with us, you would see that. Y'all wouldn't ask me that anymore, because you would see that regardless of who we play, this is what we do on Sunday, this is what we do on Monday, and it never changes. And it's relentless every week from a preparation standpoint. And that resonates to the team. It's the same energy, the same intensity with the coaches and getting ready for the opponent, and there's pride in your performance. That's how you have that type of consistency. You got to have good players, first of all, but to get that type of consistency, you got to be locked in each and every week, and you got to take pride in it. I tell them all the time, it's like Michael Jordan. Somebody asked Michael Jordan one time, why he plays so hard every night. I love Michael Jordan. Why he played so hard every night. I got 82 games, you pick a couple. You see plenty of that. You know who some of them guys are. But they'd ask Michael Jordan, why you play so hard? And he'd say, because it might be somebody's only time to see me play in the crowd. And that's a mentality. That's a mentality. That's pride in your performance. And I believe that. Michael Jordan, there didn't have to be nobody in the stands. And you put a ball out there and you put somebody out there to compete against him, he's going to dominate. He's going to play hard. And I think that's a mentality that the best of the best have. The most consistent performers have is, you take pride in how you play the game. Shouldn't matter who you play. And You know, probably the best game we've played this year was South Carolina State. I know we're supposed to beat South Carolina State, but just how we played. And I love that about our team. You know, they weren't worried about who we were playing. They just wanted to play well. And I think that's what it takes. You have to walk the walk in all areas, from your practicing, how you preparation, how you talk to your players. You know, it's always the same. And I had a buddy of mine that sent me a acronym of the word grind, and it's great because it's so true. You know, because we're in the grind, and it is a grind. I mean, you go to bed at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday night, and you're right back over here because it's a Monday. You just lose a day of prep, but you still got the same amount of work to do. And then you got to bring the guys in and practice, which isn't what they normally do. And so there's, you kind of grinding a little bit. But for us, we have a routine that we believe in. And so when Fridays come, when we walk off that field from our game prep, our guys know that we paid the price. And we don't change anything regardless of who the opponent is. But the acronym was, I think it was great routines initiate and navigate destiny. And we believe in that here. We believe in just how we get ready, and if you come on our practice fields, it's the same intensity on Tuesday each week from the coaches, regardless of who we play. And I promise you, this is the biggest game of the year. There ain't no doubt about it. This one right here, because this is the one in front of us. This is the only one we can do anything about. We can't do anything about one that we've played, whether we won it or lost it. We can't do anything about the one that's coming in 2 weeks, or whenever. Who knows? It may not even be here. But this is the one thing that we've got to be focused on. And that's a culture that you develop, and then it's the leadership buying into that. And, we've definitely got that here.